When my father left Germany and made his way to California, then in 1941, bought the original family farm.
My parents were immigrants and fled Hitler. My father had this dream in his head that he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. And then he started looking for a farm, and he found our farm, which had roses climbing up the columns, which reminded him of a book he'd read. It was his favorite book. And so he said, that's the place.
He started with 23 cows as a conventional dairy and operated for decades as a conventional farm.
Well, I had moved to Marshall with my young family 25, 30 years ago, and I was a boat builder.
Michael was someone that actually my father met at the post office in Marshall when they first moved in.
The Straus were an incredibly welcoming, warm family, and we hit it off.
He became a very dear friend and actually helped me start the creamery.
The first Straus I met was Albert's mother, Ellen. She said her son was going to transition to organic, and he was also going to bottle milk on the farm.
The farm was passed into Albert's hands to steward from then on. So he asked me to write the business plan for that transition.
When Albert came up with this goofy idea of opening a creamery, I was all enthusiastic about doing it with him.
And that time came when the whole family came together and reviewed that business plan I've mentioned. And it was a tremendously intense, focused conversation. And then at the end of the time, the agreement was to move forward. Ellen served tea and cookies that she just made, and I'm almost crying. It was so touching and real, so authentic, the whole family. So.
The first transition to organic, no one had done that on the West Coast, so that was really exciting. But bottling on the farm, wow, that was a huge leap.
My parents were terrified. Albert and his newfangled ideas. You know, Albert's kind of quiet and kind of just moved along, and they sort of went with it. We were always kind of on the edge, so if he hadn't done this, we would have gone out of business.
For heaven's sakes, Albert and his family, they had to bet the farm on this plan. There was no turning back. To go to organic, he had to give up his quota in the conventional milk. He had to create his own creamery to process his organic milk.
It was such a new thing then. I mean, I didn't know what organic milk was or what an organic creamery was, and nobody else did either.
When I started the creamery, it was with the idea that we could start a brand that could reflect the values in our mission of sustaining family farms and help revitalizing our rural communities through producing 100% certified organic dairy products.
So my first day was back September 1995. One of my friends told me that they were hiring here and gave me Albert's phone number, so I called him up. I think Albert might have asked me one or two questions. I think he said, when can you start? And I said, I can start tomorrow if you'd like. And he said, okay, well, you come tomorrow and start at 5.
In the early days at Straus, there was one truck in the yard. There was 3 people upstairs. There was Albert, Vivian, and one gal, I can't remember her name. Albert used to take orders on the phone. Albert used to pick up his own milk. He was the first truck driver. And he used to help on the bottling line. He started the whole ice cream thing, mixing his own ice cream.
Ice cream, it's what's for breakfast, he used to say.
When I started hauling milk for Straus, they had 2 dairies, Albert's Dairy and Joe Tresh's Dairy, and that was it.
My great-grandfather come to the home ranch right here in 1905. We were first milking, Kathy and I were both milking down there. There was only 20, 30 cows when we were starting up.
Michael had put a little article in the San Francisco Chronicle saying that they were looking for other organic producers to join Straus.
We got the bid on the UC property, which that barn was on. It was just kind of taking a chance, but it all worked out. We started shipping more milk and more milk, more milk. Albert would sometimes come pick the milk up himself with a little tiny 5, 6, 700-gallon truck.
I sold a bull to Joe Tresh, and just Joe, the next day, Albert came here and knocked on my door and wanted to know if I would convert to organic with the jerseys because he wanted the cream. And I said, absolutely. I just had confidence in him. I had confidence in the philosophy of organic. So now it's 16 years later and 13, 14 years with Albert. My wife still says, well, you should be retiring. I don't want to retire as long as Albert needs my Jersey milk.
When you're working with someone like Albert, who's just inspiring, you know, he comes in every day and asks you how you're doing, and you just sort of believe in his mission and values.
There's real respect for the individual, real appreciation for what each person brings to what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
I came in thinking short term. I think 3 months later, I don't know what Albert saw in me, but he told me, you're gonna be the supervisor. I think Albert just put a lot of trust in me and just gave me higher and higher positions until to where I am today.
I've been working at Straus for 11 years. There's a lot I love about it. The interaction between all the departments, the people, the owners, the executive team. We're all like family.
Straus, the company. It's small, family-owned, and it's more personal.
You know, it's just that personalness, that family-owned feel. I just love it.
But one thing about all Albert's producers, us included, it's family at its best.
And when the owner of the company drops in to sit around the kitchen table with you, and you know, they really ask, how's it going for you? It's not just about what milk we're producing, but how's everything going? And that's unheard of. And it's wonderful. Had there not been a move towards organics, I think that we'd be minus a lot more farms.
If he took no the first time he heard it, none of us would be here today.
So for me, being able to really push the limits on sustainability, push the limits on farming practices, for me, I need to be able to drive that and to be able to innovate.
Straus Family Creamery has had tremendous impact on innovation in the entire industry because Albert comes from a point of innovation.
Our practices are being recognized internationally as one of the only ways to reverse climate change rather than reduce climate change through carbon farming.
You know, most of the dairies here are organic now, and we have organic sheep milk. I mean, we have organic everything. So he was the first, certainly in the dairy world.
I think our biggest milestone from being the first certified organic dairy in the Western United States is that now 90% of the dairies in Marin Sonoma County are certified organic.
People were watching, believe me. They were watching hard, and the experiment is a success.
My hope is that the creamery can help save agriculture in the region. I think it has so far. Albert has always got new ideas, so who knows what's going to come next?
I and we as a company have advised and consulted and gone around the world trying to talk to farmers and different producers around the world about how we do things.
Maybe that's the answer, just educating people, letting them know, you know.
All his practices, the pasture and the sustainability and the glass bottles and the, animal fairness and treating animals good. I think his business model appeals to a lot of people.
To be here 25 years, to have grown the way we've grown, to have the impacts that we do, really speaks very, very highly to Albert and the entire team that's helped us get here.
Albert, hey.
Michael,
How are you? Good to see you.
good seeing you.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the rest of the story.